Hey everybody, you're watching Capital Hunter. My bank just called me a little while ago. They said they had $125 face value in silver dollars and 50-cent pieces. I told them I'd be right there. Stay tuned. Hey everybody, this is James and you're watching my channel Capital Hunter. I've got a pretty good situation going on, I think, with my banks where I let them know that I'm interested in silver dollars, 50-cent pieces, pennies, old paper money, and they've got my phone number and they will call me when something comes in. And today I got a call that they had a bunch of stuff they thought I'd be interested in. I said, I'll be right there. They said, I'll put it in a bag and have it ready for you. I think I was there in 5 minutes and it was already bagged up. Funny, when I showed up, I talked to the teller. They said, oh, we also have some pennies. I said, oh, I'll take them too. And she said, oh, they're already in the bag. So what we have here is $100 face value in 50-cent pieces. So 200 50-cent pieces, $25 in silver dollars, $13.50 in pennies for $138.50 in face values. Now, what do we expect to find in here? It's all sealed up. I haven't looked. I'm really excited. Silver dollars in Canada were actually silver up until 1967. In 1968, they transitioned to nickel dollars. If anything in here is from 1967 or earlier, it's going to be silver. So I don't know that this is all going to be silver. It's also very possible that there's no silver whatsoever in here. So we're going to find out. It could be a bunch of nickel dollars, which don't have a lot of collectible or numismatic value unless they're in excellent condition. And there might be some errors or varieties we can look for. What we really want to see is, do we have anything older, 1967 or earlier, that is 80% Canadian silver? So without further ado, I'm going to get in this bag and we're going to find out what we got. All right, I got the pennies out. What's left in here are the dollars and 50-cent pieces, and I could see in there that the 50-cent pieces are actually wrapped. So that's unusual. But I don't hear anything silvery necessarily. I think I'm hearing a lot of nickel, but a lot of them are loose. So we'll get them out of there. And so far, I'm seeing nickel dollars. We'll get that out there. And that looks to be exactly what we've got, is going to be a bunch of nickel dollars, and somebody's wrapped up all the 50-cent pieces. The other thing to note is that 50-cent pieces and $1 coins changed sizes. They got smaller when they went to nickel. Nickel's a harder, more dense metal than silver, and so it's heavier, I think. So they were making them a bit smaller. It looks like everything we've got here is going to be nickel. We're not going to find any silver, I think, at least in the dollars. And it might be the same thing for these. Because they're wrapped up, they'd all have to be nickel or they'd all have to be silver to be the same size. Let's just start with these dollars. I'm going to sort them out. We'll see what we've got before we move to the 50-cent pieces. So here are our 25 $1 coins, and I can confirm that they are all nickel because the oldest of them is this 1968. Actually a pretty nice looking dollar. You can see the fields are pretty clean. If I flip it over, there's Queen Elizabeth. A few little marks probably from being in this very bag. But we got 1978, some 81s, 82 with the Voyager, and then of course we got a bunch of these 82 Constitution ones. There is a rare variety here where instead of being in metal orientation, they're in coin orientation. Coin orientation would flip like an American one and the Queen would be right side up. And I checked them all, and none of them are the super rare. Different orientation, that would have been great. We got some 83, 84. That is with, let's see, Jacques Cartier, yep. And then we got an 84 Voyager, 85, and an 86. So nothing here that's particularly collectible or valuable, but you never know. I always say yes every time the bank offers me quote unquote silver dollars, because I've gotten real silver, 80% silver dollars from them in the past, and I probably will again. I just need to say yes every time the opportunity comes up. So I'm not going to be worried about it. Next, we got a whole whack of 50-cent pieces. We'll take a look at these. There might be some more modern ones in here because 50-cent pieces in this size, I think these are the nickel ones, are still being minted today, and they're actually pretty low quantities. The mintages are very low, so we'll open up a roll. I've actually never done coin roll hunting of 50-cent pieces, so this is really strange. It doesn't look like we're going to get silver, but we'll do that. We'll take a peek and see what's in these. Okay, so our first one in here is going to be a 1973, and these look like they've got some circulation where they haven't been in somebody's collection. That's also a 73, 71, 69, 69. There are a couple of varieties we want to look for in here. In the 1974, if we get any of those, we're looking for the missing S. There's a 1969. Pretty nice looking coin, but you can see it's not in complete mint state. There's a 74. Let's throw this under the scope and see what we're looking at. Here's that 74 under the scope, and the variety I was referring to, the missing S, is the designer Thomas Shingles. The T is here, the S is here. This is actually a pretty weak strike. I can see the S, but it's not great. But we do have another variety that others have found and noted, and that is the missing A. And this is, I think you can find this on several of these 50-cent pieces, but there is supposed to be an A here. You can see a little something, but this legend says Amari Usk Admar, which means from sea to sea. But that A is almost completely gone right there. So I think we found something cool. If I find another 1974, I'll pull it up for you, we'll compare it, because we should probably see a much stronger A on that motto there. That's actually a pretty cool find. Here's a newer one. This one is from 2002. And in the early 2000s, late 90s, the mintages for these coins were really, really low, like in the several hundred thousands. This one here from 2002, which is a commemorative 50 years of Queen Elizabeth II's reign, has this throwback portrait of the Queen. She's much younger here, but this was minted in the millions. Here's the 1978 under the scope, and there's a variety in here we want to look for too. See, this crown here has square jewels. They're like little rectangles here. There's another version that is less common where these jewels in the crown are rounded. And if we can find one of those, it's definitely worth a premium, probably about $8 or $10 in an MS-60. As opposed to perhaps $1 or $2 for an MS-60 that is the square jewels. So that's one we want to look for as we're going through all of these as well. So we saw that 74 that I found that had the missing A, and you can see in here listed in the Charlton catalog, the 1968 missing A shows it $40 in an MS-60, and very much similar to what we found. And I just pulled a 68 from that roll, and check it out. We've got a 1968 missing A, and in fact, it's missing most of the I here, so definitely a weaker strike. I think that's what was happening here. We'll have to look at this in hand to see if this would qualify as an MS-60. It might very well. It's a nice looking coin. It looks like it's been handled, but that is a great find in here. That is a 1968 missing A. We'll see if we've got any others. Here's another 68 that was in that roll, and when I scroll down here, you can see that A is definitely there. A little weaker at the top maybe, but not anywhere near what we just saw on that other one. Now, some of these coins in here are fantastic looking coins. Check out this 1980. It is lustrous, just beautiful. When I was growing up, these were my favorite Canadian coins because they were out there, but they didn't really circulate. You didn't really use these in change. So whenever I saw one of these or got one of these, it was always very special. You could spend it, but it might be like $50 in the States. I don't think they were very common at all. Collectors quite liked them, and this one is just a gorgeous example. This is our first 1982. There's also a variety in this we want to look at. And of course, I always have my Charlton guide beside me here. You can see there are two types, the large beads high relief and the small beads low relief. You can see a difference in the detail in the hair, and the beads, of course, are different, but the hair is going to be the easiest way to tell. Softer in the large beads, definitely more detail in the small beads. And if we look at the price guide, it's the small bead one with the lots of detail we want to find in an MS-60. It's $25 versus $1.50. So we'll take a look at that under the scope. And of course, if you don't have the Charlton Standard Catalog of Canadian Coins, you definitely want to get it. You can get it from the charltonpress.com website using the discount code CRH20 for 20% off your purchase. You can also get it from Lighthouse Canada, CRH20, same discount code, lighthousecanada.ca. Those two retailers are a partner of this channel. They sponsor me. So if you haven't already got this guide, you definitely want to get it. It's my go-to resource. All right, here it is. And we can see the details in the hair here are pretty soft. They don't appear to have the kinds of lines that we would see in the low relief. You can see it looks like lines there. We don't have that. This is the more common one, but we'll want to check every single one we get, because if we can find it, it's definitely worth a premium and collectors are looking for them. So here's another 1968. I'm in the second roll here. And once again, there's a slight something there, but definitely no A, just like the last one. That's really cool. The very next coin is another 1968, and this is what it's supposed to look like. You can see all of the detail, a really good strike. That A is full and it's present. Those other two, definitely not that way at all. Here's the 1979, and there is a minor variety here. There's the pointed bust or round bust. It's really looking at the front edge of the queen's shoulder here. If I put it up on the screen here with the scope, this is the rounded bust. It's basically a rounded end here. There's also a pointed bust. It actually comes to a pretty fine point. The pointed busts were just in mint sets. It doesn't really command a huge premium. They're going to be in excellent condition. And so if you can find it, it just means somebody pulled it from a set and not from these that were intended for some level of circulation. So two things you can look for, the rounded bust and the pointed bust. This is roll number 3 of 8 rolls. So we had 8 full rolls, $12.50 each. We got a bunch, and because you can't really find wrappers for these, somebody's made these by hand, just pieces of paper they cut out and wrap them in. So that's actually pretty cool. So we'll make our way through this. Now we got a sense of what the varieties are we're looking for. Can we find any more? We got a bunch to go through. So the odds are, well, better than average. And there are certainly some beautiful coins in here. This one here is a 1969. This one here I flipped over is a 1970, and they look pretty nice. But again, as I said, these didn't really circulate much, so they would have sat somewhere for a long while before somebody rolled them up to take them back to the bank. Here's a 1999. This is the only one from the 90s that we've found so far. This is minted under 500,000, and the coat of arms has been updated and is different. It's a little bit smaller. There's some additional elements you can see in the circle with some writing in there. So a little bit different than others. This one looks like it might have been glued into somebody's book or something, but the only one from the 90s so far. This is roll number 6 of 8, and this is another 1968 with no A. That's our third one. There are our discard wrappers. I've got the 8th and final roll, $100 face value of Canadian 50-cent pieces here to go through. Can we find anything else cool? We'll see. Well, we are going to find something else. I've got a 1974 here, and the variety we were looking for right off the top was the missing S. And have a look there. There is no sign of that S, Thomas Shingles. That S is completely gone. That is awesome. That's great variety. Of course, when we look at our catalog here, the Charlton Standard Catalog, that 1974 missing S, in an MS60, is a $60 coin, and you can see it goes up from there. And a 65, it's $750. Just take a peek at this and see how this looks in hand. It's a pretty nice looking coin. I think it would get an MS. We'll flip it over. It's close. It's got a nick on the neck there. You know, and it might even be an AU. Even so, might be worth me grading it. I can get this graded on a group submission for $10 to ICCS plus tax, so $11.30. But that might be worthwhile, particularly if it grades a little higher than I think. If it's 60, 61, 62, might be well worth it. But that is the 1974 no S. Awesome. Well, I have to say that was pretty awesome for me. This is the first time I've ever had the chance to literally go coin roll hunting Canadian 50-cent pieces or half dollars. And that's how I actually got started in doing my YouTube channel, like many of you who might also have YouTube channels, was watching coin roll hunting videos on YouTube. People like Rob Finds Treasure, for instance, particularly folks hunting $half for silver in the States. And you just can't get rolls of 50-cent pieces or $half in Canada, or at least I didn't think you could. And here today, we got a whole bunch of them, customer wrapped, absolutely. And we got a whole bunch, stacks of them, $100 in fact, starting in 1968. So because we didn't get anything from 67 and earlier, we didn't get any silver. But you know what? We found some really cool things and some valuable things that I probably will get graded. If I can get a low MS on them, that would be fantastic. But we got a stack of 68s, probably more than a whole row of 69s, into 70, 71, a couple of 72s, lots of 73s, 74s, 75s, a really high stack of 76s there. One lone 1977, and that is the lowest mintage year of all the ones represented on here. It is minted at just 709,939. The others are all, 2, 3, 4 million essentially. And then we've got more here, 78, 79, 80, big stack of 80s. And some of these 1980s are really beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. But many of them, interestingly, had at least one scratch on the obverse. Like this one here, you can see a bad scratch. Otherwise, lots of luster, good coin. 81, a single 1982, 83, 84, 85, and then we stop at 86. And 86 is also minted pretty low at just 781,000. And after that, they start to get pretty low mintage, like 3, 2, 400,000, until, of course, 2002, which is pretty plentiful. That one coming in with a mintage at, if I flip my Charlton catalog, over 14 million. So that's uncharacteristic, but it was a commemorative, so that's why they made so many of them. And of course, we got 25 $1 coins. I don't think we found anything terribly interesting in there necessarily. So what I'm going to do is pick out the best of these, see if there are any I want to hold on to. I might just pick out a whole run from all the way from 68 to 86. We've got at least one of all those dates. If we had one more 1982, we'd have two of everything. I could have had two sets, but I'll do that. See if they're any worth keeping for sure. And even though we didn't find silver, we did manage to find, I think, some coins that have some collectability and possibly some actual dollar value. We got not one, but three 1968s with no A. And I'll throw them each up here. We'll get one last look at them. So that A is pretty much gone. Same here, nothing at all. And then this guy here, also gone. So that's really cool. We had to have a whole stack of them to get them. We've probably got about 20 of them, maybe. So the next one we got here, this 1974, throw that one under. And this is another missing A. It's almost the missing S. That is the listed variety in the Charlton catalog. This one has an S. It's pretty faint. But this one here that we got is a no-doubter 1974 missing S. We'll throw that under one last time. And it is, there's no sign of it whatsoever. So that's absolutely 100% a no-doubter 1974 missing S. Let me know what you think. Is this worth me grading? It's got some light marks in circulation. Is it worth it even in a high AU, do you think? Let me know what you think on that. It might not be a bad idea. I think I can get it graded for pretty cheap. It's not like in the States where it's going to cost me $75 or $80 or more to get a variety attribution. I can get this done, I think, for about $10. So it might be worth it. Let me know what you think. I really hope you enjoyed this hunting 50-cent pieces. We're going to have to do these pennies at another time. We just had too much fun and took too much time hunting all of these other coins. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, CAD Roll Hunter, please hit that button and subscribe. I'd appreciate it. Give the video a like. That will help my channel out greatly. Really glad you came along to watch my video. Thank you so much for watching. I always appreciate it. We'll see you again next time. The sponsors of today's video are Lighthouse Canada and the Charlton Press. Lighthouse Canada is the leading supplier of high-quality numismatic supplies in Canada, and the Charlton Press is the leading publisher of coin and paper money catalogs and price guides for Canadian collectors. Go check out their online stores today and use the exclusive discount code CRH20 for 20% off all your purchases.